Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. We are here with Peter Callstrom. He is the CEO of the San Diego Workforce Partnership, a frequent guest on our Spotlight on the Community Show. And Peter, it's always good to see you in the studio.
Great to be with you, Drew.
Really appreciate that. Maybe do a little nickel tour on what the San Diego Workforce Partnership does and how long you've been at the head of the helm.
Well, at the Workforce Partnership, we are here to serve all job seekers and all employers in the region. So we serve folks who are new to the workforce from youth all the way through career. So folks who want to upskill, reskill, or just get back into the workforce, we're here to serve them. We're supported through the private sector, the philanthropy sector, and the public sector. So a number of dollars come through Department of Labor that we use in order to run the career centers that we have throughout the region, and then private sector and philanthropic dollars are invested in us so that we can spin up new programs that are targeted at specific populations.
Right,
and I've been here 10 years now.
10 years now, right. Mm-hmm. And what you folks do is work very, very closely with chambers and EDCs and social scientists to identify those sectors, right, that are going to be somewhere where the job growth will go. Talk about that.
Yeah, so another part of what we do is doing ongoing research into our regional labor market to identify where the jobs are, the in-demand jobs, the changing nature of work in the economy, work with the EDCs and chambers, as you mentioned, and community colleges and entities really throughout the whole region, community-based organizations, you name it, because we're all really in this together in order to uplift our region in whatever possible way we can to serve job seekers who want to move along in their career.
Right. So so much research. I know you're a big fan of research of where this is going and how it's going and so forth. And, sort of bouncing around your key topics there.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to them, of course. But big news recently about Apple is going to bring some folks down here. Mm-hmm. Talk about that.
Yeah, that's wonderful for our region because we're really made up of three huge driving sectors in our region. That's military, the tourism and service sector, and then the innovation and IT sector. Each one of those three huge driving sectors, if you will, employ around 200,000 people in our region, which then lead into all the other priority sectors from healthcare to life sciences, you name it. But with Apple coming to town, that's great because it's going to lead to a lot more opportunity for people to get into high-tech careers that are really in super high demand. And then where we come in is how do we help people where they are to be able to go from whatever job or sector they're in if they want to newly skill to get into these careers. That's where the Workforce Partnership comes in. So we can use the public dollars we work with or the targeted private sector and philanthropic dollars so that we can create training programs to reach people so they can be still working in their current job if they want to get the skills necessary to get their foot in the door for great companies like Apple.
Right, and where the future jobs will be. We are chatting with Peter Callstrom, CEO of the San Diego Workforce Partnership. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. As you're listening to another edition of Spotlight on the Community here at the Mission Fed Credit Union Studios.
So, Drew, to your question about the research, one thing that we're doing, I think, that's really innovative in our space is we take the ongoing research that we do to identify the in-demand sectors, and instead of just putting out reports, which are always important and interesting, we converted these into career priority sector poster boards for schools.
Right.
So we have them now in all the school districts throughout the region, so kids can really wrap their head around, well, what is advanced manufacturing? what is life science? How do I get into these careers, and is that for me? And one of our real close partners has been the Cajon Valley Union School District with Superintendent Dave Miyashiro and Chief Innovation Officer Ed Hidalgo, who serves on our board. And so we've taken it beyond the poster boards to create an online tool we call My Next Move, where anybody can navigate and look at all the different career options, and then also place-based interventions, if you will. Like at Cajon Valley, they've dedicated former library space, and we created a thing together with them called the Launchpad. So
Right.
they use all of their materials, all that we do, and then kids as early as grade school, all the way through 12th and beyond, can explore careers along with the academics they're learning. That's a game changer.
Yeah, without question. And, David sits on our Classroom in the Future Foundation board, and we've talked about that quite a bit as well. Talk about behavioral health, and as it ties into something that Nathan Fletcher is doing.
Yeah, Nathan reached out over a year ago to commission a report that we pulled together through our research team, a 90-plus page report that identifies the real critical need to create the talent necessary to meet the behavioral health workforce needs in our region. Right now, we're already 50% short of what it takes to meet that need. And so this report identifies it very data focused so that we really understand the challenge before us. On this Tuesday, the 23rd of August, we had a convening at the Downtown Library with Chair Fletcher, and Supervisor Lawson Reamer was there as well, and 300 plus people, so that we could really focus in on what do we do, how do we upskill, how do we meet this demand, what kind of funding it takes, and then come together so that we can really build the momentum necessary so that we can get ahead of what is a crisis, not just in our region, but across the country. And this is the first report of its kind that we've seen in the country.
Right. And would cyber focus on, obviously cyber is the behavioral health, but in the aspect that it's huge. We know it's huge. We just have to look at the news and see how the breaches on probably a nanosecond basis. Mm-hmm. And in the same case, we are, woefully understaffed in that area, are we not?
We sure are, and cybersecurity is a huge challenge in our world right now, and is only going to grow in its importance as we become such a technology-based economy in all sectors. So thanks to the James Irvine Foundation, over a year ago, they granted us $1.5 million to create a cybersecurity training program. And that is targeted to reach people who are underserved right now, who don't have the opportunity to get into these in-demand careers. So thanks to the Irvine Foundation, we then were able to create a program, partner with others around the region, the Cybersecurity Center of Excellence, the Continuing Education, and other partners, so that we can really create a robust program. And this, again, is around really being able to reach people where they are and reach underserved and underrepresented individuals so that we can build our talent workforce right here in the region instead of having to go and find it elsewhere.
Yeah, I'd be remiss if we didn't give a shout out to our friend Peter Sibley from Journeys when I'd introduced him to Ken Slatt, the retired Rear Admiral in charge of Spay War, now NAVWAR, when he came over and ran that group, and now they have on their Journeys map, as you well know, a big cyber component because it's just moving so
Journeys
fast.
Map is a wonderful platform.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. Talk about this unbelievable investment from Assemblymember Brian Maienschein.
Yes, Brian Maienschein, Assemblymember in the 76th District, doing great work up in Sacramento, a great advocate for our region. And I knew Brian back in my prior work at the Regional Task Force on the Homeless, and he was working on a special project with the United Way, and became connected, and he's really been a great friend over time, and he reached out through his team months ago because it was time to create and build and advocate within the state budget. And so we brainstormed together on what we can do to really impact the entire county in the most impactful ways and thoughtful ways. And together we mapped out where the need is and how an investment could really change the game for so many job seekers. And so thanks to his advocacy and getting this into the state budget, we were awarded $10 million to focus in two priority sector areas, one being healthcare careers, and this really ties right into the behavioral health issue I was talking about, and also public administration jobs. It's one of the biggest employers in our region. Government, runs what we do, and the social safety net and the infrastructure, and you name it. There's a lot of wonderful careers in public administration, but doesn't get enough attention. And so in those two sectors, each will have $5 million that we can devote over a 3-year period of time to build up the workforce within these two spaces. So a big thanks to Assemblymember Maienschein for being so thoughtful and making this happen.
Yeah, so will that money be used with maybe getting people that are just into the workforce, new, haven't worked before, into that space, the ones that you mentioned earlier that maybe need to make a transition, want to do a transition into something, or use the skill sets they already have in their current jobs to pivot over there?
Yeah, you said it well. It's really all of that, because it's getting into that to be able to get folks introduced to these sectors and to help them identify the best pathway and whatever that particular vocation may be, and get the training so it can be new to the workforce as well as upskilling so that they can raise up in their career and be able to provide even more value as they progress in their own career. Yeah,
and what you folks do is great in that vein. And we all know, listen, there's probably not someone you don't know that is, teetering on the edge. We know it's been a very tough economy. We know that people in general, or a lot of folks, I should say, are living paycheck to paycheck. And they're that, the new look. You and I have talked about it quite a bit, Peter, working with friends like Jim Floros, who former CEO of the Food Bank, will be on the show a little bit later. The face of the needy has changed. And it is folks that look like you and me that have worked for 30 years and now they're not working for whatever reason.
Right.
And they're very close to, being on the edge.
Yeah, so true. The pandemic has really exacerbated inequality, and a lot of challenges that have been there but have really taken off. And the good news is our economy's coming back with a roar, and unemployment is low, but that can be an artificially low figure because 1 million women left the workforce during the pandemic because of the child care crisis. So we have a lot of stressors in a lot of places that make it really tough for people to get ahead and to save money and to feel secure. And the cost of living has only gone up. We've had inflation, of course. Hopefully that will be coming down with some good controls.
Right.
But rent and housing is unachievable for many. And we become the highest cost place to live in the country, and that's not sustainable. Part of a way to overcome that, again, is getting people skilled so they can be able to advance in their career. And we've been able to advance in our own careers over time through good fortune, good luck, and timing and support. And that's where the workforce partnership can come in again, because people want to move forward in their career. But if you're in a position where you don't have that opportunity to move up within your company, and if you want to move into a different sector, you can't oftentimes just go to an employer without the skill set and get your foot in the door. And that's where we can come in with programs we provide, like Tech Hire, where it's entry-level skills and mid-level skills so people can go right into careers in technology and then off they go. Or construction career. We created one with SDG&E and the San Diego Electrical Training Institute, where we get folks the essential skills to be able to go to their employer and begin to work and add value from day one. And SDG&E has hired a lot of people who have gone through that training program. And that's an example of creating a custom design and intervention, reaching people so they have the opportunity affordably, oftentimes free, because of the design that we are able to create with our investors. Then we can get people the skills necessary so they can advance in their career. And that's so key to your question, because people are struggling and oftentimes just really suffering, and they can change that dynamic by advancing in their career and making a better income.
No, without question. We are chatting with Peter Callstrom. He's the CEO of the San Diego Workforce Partnership. I'm Drew Schlosberg, and you're listening to Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community on Cloudcast Media, brought to you by Mission-Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for more than 60 years. Peter, when we come back from break, we're going to talk about the Career Center change, something that's the bread and butter of the Workforce Partnership. And then I know you got a great story. You got so many success stories. We can probably have 15 hours of that, but you have a great one you want to share. And then, as you know, you've been a frequent guest on the show, what our listeners can do to support your efforts when we come back. How's that sound?
You bet.
You bet. We're going to be right back with Peter Callstrom, CEO of the San Diego Workforce Partnership. You've been listening to another edition of Spotlight on the Community.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
We are back with Peter Callstrom, CEO of the San Diego Workforce Partnership. He is talking about all the great things they've been doing in this huge workforce space they're in. Nice $10 million investment from Assemblymember Brian Maienschein. We was chatting about that, and behavioral health workforce vision plan with Supervisor Nathan Fletcher. And right before a break, Peter, we were talking about the Career Center change. Talk about that.
That's really exciting for us. And to zoom back a little bit, there's a whole network of workforce boards, as we're called, across the country, 550 of us. And the majority of these entities, we all operate or fund career centers. So there's like 2,500 of them around the country. And in our region, we have 7. And we made a big move in July where we, instead of outsourcing that work to an operator to do the work, we brought it in-house, and we're doing it all directly. So that provides a lot more opportunity for us to pay better wages for our staff, which is really important for their own job quality and their own career advancement.
Sure.
And to get closer to the participants that we serve instead of through an operator. And we've had partners who've done very good work in the past, but by being able to do this directly, we have very close relationships with all of the job seekers as well as the employment community. So a lot of upside to doing it, and put more dollars into job training and the people that we serve.
Right. I mean, but does that not involve just a huge influx of folks that have to work for you now, now you're doing it in-house?
It's about 50 more staff.
That's
so
big.
We're up to about 150 on our team, but
Wow.
But it's great because, again, then we can be real close to the work.
Right.
We can be even more nimble in our partnerships with other entities around the region to adjust quickly instead of, again, when you go through an operator, and nothing against those who do this work in our field, but it can lead to some bureaucracy or slowness that we can overcome by doing it ourselves. And you have to be ready and prepared as an entity to do it. 5 years ago, we weren't in that space, but as we've grown and have done a lot of direct service that we never did before,
right.
The timing for this is really good, because when people come to us looking for job seeker support, career advancement, they then can have a far better career navigation experience instead of going to a career center, but they may not know what we're doing inside of the workforce partnership with a lot of custom programs. So now we have built a universal intake. So when somebody comes in, they can much more easily navigate around all the many different options that we provide.
Right. You've been in this space, for a while. And, certainly have seen things up, down, in between, and everything else on this aspect of it. And I want to brag about you and your staff because you always deflect to the staff. You always do it.
As I should. And my board, it is a great team, and I play my part. But if you don't have a great team, none of this is possible. Yeah,
you've been very magnanimous about it. But, I know you folks are looked upon as one of the leaders, if not the leader, in workforce partnerships or whatever these entities are called around the country. I know you take a lot of pride in that, but you got the results behind it. Talk about how important that is.
We just want to do really good quality work for our region. We serve a big region, 3.4 million people in the county, as you know, and that's bigger than 20 states.
Right.
So we've got a lot of opportunity, but a lot of need in our region. And so I felt long ago, 10 years ago when I started, that just having the public investment was not enough. And that's where we were. And our teams in the past had really done a lot of work to get us to that space, but we really needed to stretch further. And so since that time, half of our budget is non-federal. So we have the public investment from the state and the city and the county, but private sector and philanthropy really rounds out our ability to make more impact. And when we do that, do it well, create impactful programs, reach people, and serve our employment community, partner with great philanthropic partners, San Diego Foundation, Bank of America locally, Conrad Prebys, and so many others who are game changers for us. They allow us to do really innovative, creative things every single day.
Right. I was going to read in my mind, I was going to bring that up because one of the things that is in your DNA personally, and then of course the organizations, is collaboration.
Oh yeah.
And now, a special relationship now with UCSD's Park and Market.
Oh yeah.
And with
Love
the
it.
Burnham Center, and a shout out to our good friend Malin and then Tad Parson, the president of the organization.
And Mary Walshuck, of course. And Park and Market is a gem, and this is really going to change not only downtown, but that collaborative environment that Mary has created through her vision is wonderful. The EDC is moving there, as you know, and other great partners, the Black Chamber, and so many others is fantastic. And we're down there, and then being able to just bump into people as you're working leads to so many cool opportunities.
Well, and you know this, you've been involved with Callstrom and the Future Foundation, and with us, and Malin has been recognized at that our big event, and of course you've been there, and I think, and you mentioned earlier about the space with the Cajon Valley, and David Miyashiro, who happens to sit on the CFF board. We're hoping to have a little bit of a spot down there somewhere down the road because it ties beautifully into what you're doing. Our mission is focusing on college and career pathways, and getting folks to where they need to be. I'm Drew Schlosberg, and you've been listening to Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community on Cloudcast Media, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing great things to San Diego for over 60 years. I know we have a few more minutes to go, but I know you've been biting at the chomp to chat about this one. You have 4,000 success stories, but there's a real cool one you want to share.
Thousands of success stories. Just at our last board meeting, we do a spotlight each time. We call Faces of Workforce, so the board can really see the impact of who we're serving and the stories and the impact. And this lovely young lady has such a profound story that she shared with us very openly, where she was suffering from mental illness and addiction, and found herself homeless and unemployed, and had a felony. And so, wow, can you imagine having those issues and trying to overcome that to get into the workforce? But because of her desire, her grit to really face that and overcome it, she has now become employed in the healthcare sector through a great company, Mobile Healthcare Express, and she's been promoted now 4 times, I've been told, and she shared in the meeting. But she gave such credit to our staff that she's worked with, who really made such an impact and really cared for her and supported her all the way through and provided her with the support and the navigation to be able to overcome this. And now Wendy is her name. She's independent. She has a car. She has been given such trust by her employer. And she broke down in tears during this story where the employer gave her the keys to the office. Wow. And for her to achieve that level of trust, is overwhelming. And now she's independent. She's succeeding. She has an income. She has pride. And we're so thankful that we got to play a part in her story to be able to provide her the support, the team, the backing, the funding to be able to help her navigate through, and a person to lean on when it gets tough. And so that's one of many stories, and I'm so proud of our team for being able to do that in such impactful and life-changing ways.
Well, and as we've talked about before, great example where you've changed her life without question, but you've also changed the people's lives that are around her sphere. And whether it's her family, her cousins, her siblings, and all that business, because now she's been able to do X, Y, and Z. Yeah. And the beauty of these stories, whether it's a workforce partnership doing this, or it's some wonderful nonprofit that's changed the life of someone, I always point out to people that, yes, you've hit the core person you're working with, but they got tentacles.
That's right.
And every one of those tentacles you've now changed for the better, because now their beloved fill in the blank is able to do X. And I think that's lost on a lot of people.
I think that's a great point, because Wendy's story's powerful, but it's impacted so many others in her ring of life. And that is so crucial. And it also is a reminder to all of us, too, don't give up on anybody. People who are on the street are people, and they just need the right support. And it may take a lot of trial to get there, but right. Wendy's a perfect example. She was on the street, and she spoke of even having psychosis, but she's got her medication. Right. She's overcome her incarceration, and she's even getting her felony expunged. And she's on her way. Now, that's one of thousands that we need to impact so that we can also get other folks off the street and get others wherever they may be in their career cycle. Even if they haven't faced these kinds of challenges, but people just want to move on and improve in their own life.
Well, now they're, instead of taking from society, they're contributing as well. Peter, shout out your website. It's a robust website. It's a great website. You guys spend a lot of time on that website. It's easy to navigate, and it can get any questions answered from folks that want to take your services, or if there are folks that want to help work with you. What is it?
It is workforce.org. How easy can it be? Workforce.org. And also, Wendy's story is on there. So search Wendy, not Wendy, but like wind. And you can read more about Wendy and see her own testimony on a YouTube that she did.
I think that's great. Peter, promise you'll come back on. We were chatting at break about maybe bringing on Brian Maienschein with you and talking about some of those stories. The content you share is just so valuable for so many different reasons, and we're grateful that you give up some time in your warp speed schedule to be with us.
Anytime for you, Drew.
I really appreciate that. We've been chatting with Peter Callstrom, CEO of the San Diego Workforce Partnership. I'm Drew Schlosberg, and you've been listening to Drew Schlossberg's Spotlight on the Community on Cloudcast Media, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing great things to San Diego for 60 years.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.